The alien scanning officer stared at his display screen, then blinked all four of his eyes in confusion. He checked the readings again, adjusting the sensitivity of the long-range sensors. Something massive was hiding in the shadow of the third planet's moon, something that shouldn't be there. First speaker Thul, the scanning officer called out, his voice trembling slightly. I'm detecting an anomaly that requires your attention. The tall, silver-skinned first speaker glided across the bridge of the diplomatic vessel. The coalition of advanced species had sent their finest ship and crew to make first contact with the newly discovered human civilization. After observing their radio signals and primitive satellite technology, they had expected to find a species barely capable of reaching their own moon. What seems to be the problem? Thul asked, leaning over the scanner display. The object. It's approximately 3 kilometers in length, the officer explained. But that's impossible. Our intelligence suggested the humans could only build vessels under 100 meters. Ambassador Vale, who had been quietly observing from her command chair, rose to her feet. Her crystalline skin caught the starlight streaming through the bridge windows. Send the standard greeting package on all frequencies, she ordered. Let's see how they respond. The communication officer transmitted the carefully prepared message, a series of mathematical sequences followed by simple visual representations of peaceful intent. The coalition had used this same first contact protocol with dozens of emerging civilizations. The response came almost instantly. They're transmitting in perfect coalition standard, the communication officer reported, unable to hide his surprise. They're identifying themselves as the TNS Thunder, a human military vessel. They're requesting permission to power up their external lighting for visual confirmation of their position. Ambassador Vale exchanged worried looks with first speaker Thul. No primitive civilization should be able to decode coalition standards so quickly, let alone respond in it. Grant them permission, she said finally, but maintain our defensive screens at maximum power. What happened next would be recorded in coalition history as the moment everything they thought they knew about humanity changed. Massive sections of space seemed to shimmer as if reality itself was being bent. Then, slowly, lights began to appear in the darkness. They traced the outline of something so large it dwarfed the coalition's diplomatic fleet. The human vessel emerged from its hiding place, and the aliens fell silent. The TNS Thunder was unlike anything they had ever seen. Its hull was made of materials their sensors couldn't identify. Massive rings along its length slowly rotated, suggesting artificial gravity systems far more advanced than the coalition's technology. What they had assumed were weapons ports were actually gravitational field generators, placing the vessel centuries ahead of their own capabilities. We are receiving a video transmission, the communication officer announced. They want to establish visual contact. The main screen lit up, showing a human in a dark blue uniform. He stood straight, hands clasped behind his back, with an air of quiet confidence that made Ambassador Vale uncomfortable. Greetings, coalition representatives, the human said. I am Captain James Reed of the Thunder. We've been expecting your arrival and are honored to be humanity's representatives for this historic moment. First speaker Thul stepped forward. Captain Reed, we were not prepared for this level of technological advancement. Our data suggested that we were primitives barely able to reach our moon. Reed's smile was polite but knowing. The coalition isn't the first advanced civilization to make that assumption about us. We've learned it's sometimes advantageous to let others underestimate humanity. Ambassador Vale found her voice. Captain, would you be willing to host our delegation aboard your vessel? I believe we have much to discuss and much to learn about each other. We would be delighted, Reed replied. Our docking bay can accommodate your shuttle. And Ambassador, you might want to prepare yourself. The Thunder's exterior is just the beginning of what humanity has to show you. As the transmission ended, the aliens stared at the massive warship gleaming in the starlight. They had come expecting to guide a primitive species into the galactic community. Instead, they were about to discover just how wrong their assumptions had been about humanity's capabilities. The Coalition shuttle approached the Thunder's docking bay, giving Ambassador Vale and First Speaker Thul their first close-up view of the human warship. What had seemed impressive from a distance became absolutely stunning up close. "Look at the hull plating," First Speaker Thul whispered, pressing his four-fingered hand against the shuttle's viewport. "It's not reflecting light the way it should. It's almost as if it's absorbing energy." Ambassador Vale finished his thought. Her crystalline skin flickered with patterns of amazement. "But that's theoretical technology. No one has managed to create energy-absorbing hull materials." Their shuttle pilot carefully maneuvered through the massive docking bay entrance. Inside, they found a space large enough to hold their entire diplomatic fleet. Rows of smaller human vessels lined the walls, each one looking more advanced than anything the Coalition had in their military. As the shuttle landed, they noticed something even more surprising. "The gravity," Vale said, checking her instruments. "It's perfect Coalition standard gravity. They've matched it exactly for our comfort." A small welcoming party waited for them. Captain Reed stood at the front, flanked by two officers. As the alien delegation stepped out of their shuttle, they noticed the deck beneath their feet wasn't metal. It seemed to be made of the same strange material as the outer hull. "Welcome aboard the Thunder," Reed said warmly. "I'd like you to meet Commander Stone, our tactical officer, and Engineer Wilson, who will be giving you a tour of our vessel." Engineer Wilson stepped forward, his friendly smile putting the aliens slightly at ease. "Before we begin the tour, I should mention that some areas of the ship might challenge your understanding of physics. Please don't be alarmed. Everything aboard is perfectly safe." They hadn't gone more than 50 meters when First Speaker Thul stopped dead in his tracks. Through a massive window, he could see the rotating rings that circled the ship's exterior. But something was wrong with the view. "The stars," he said, his voice shaking. "They're bending around the rings." Engineer Wilson nodded. "Ah, you've noticed our gravity manipulation system. Those rings create controlled space-time distortions. It's how we generate artificial gravity, enhance our propulsion. And," he paused, glancing at Captain Reed, who nodded, "and it's how we power our defensive systems." Ambassador Vale's crystalline skin pulsed with patterns of disbelief. "But manipulating space-time at that scale, the energy requirements would be massive by Coalition standards." Commander Stone finished for her. "That's why we developed new ways to harness energy. The hull you were admiring earlier, it doesn't just absorb energy. It harvests it from multiple dimensions." They continued their tour, each revelation more staggering than the last. The aliens saw engine rooms that seemed to defy the laws of thermodynamics, weapon systems that could target ships in other dimensions, and computer cores that used quantum states in ways their scientists had only dreamed about. "I have to ask," First Speaker Thul finally said, his diplomatic training barely hiding his shock. "Why show us all this? Surely these are military secrets that could be used against you." Captain Reed stopped walking and turned to face the alien delegation. "Because, First Speaker, humanity has learned something important during our development. The best way to maintain peace isn't to hide your strengths. It's to make them so overwhelmingly clear that conflict becomes unthinkable." Ambassador Vale found herself nodding slowly. "Your ship, the Thunder, it's not just a warship, is it? It's a message." "Exactly," Reed smiled. "A message that says humanity is ready to join the galactic community, ready to share our knowledge, and ready to defend ourselves if necessary." "Now, shall we continue? The quantum laboratories are particularly interesting, and I believe they'll help explain how we managed to decode your language so quickly." As they walked deeper into the massive ship, the alien delegation began to understand. They hadn't discovered a primitive species needing guidance. They had found equals, perhaps even superiors, who had been waiting patiently to reveal themselves to the galaxy. The quantum laboratories aboard the Thunder left the alien delegation speechless. Engineer Wilson led them through rooms filled with equipment that seemed to break the fundamental laws of physics as they knew them. "This is our smallest quantum computer," Wilson said, pointing to a cube the size of his fist. "It can process more calculations in a second than your entire coalition's computing network can handle in a year." First Speaker Thul's 4 eyes widened. Impossible. The quantum instability would collapse the system. Wilson finished with a smile. "That was the problem, wasn't it? Your scientists tried to stabilize quantum states using magnetic fields. We took a different approach." He held up the cube. "We don't try to control quantum uncertainty. We use it. The more unstable the quantum field becomes, the more processing power we get." Ambassador Vale watched as streams of data flowed through holographic displays around them. Her crystalline skin flickered with patterns of deep thought. "This explains how you broke our encryption so easily. Our most advanced security protocols would seem primitive to this level of computing power." "Actually," Commander Stone said, entering the lab, "breaking your encryption was one of our older systems tasks. This lab is dedicated to something far more interesting: dimensional research." The aliens followed Stone to a sealed chamber at the back of the lab. Through its transparent walls, they could see a sphere of pure darkness floating in the center. "What you're looking at," Stone explained, "is a controlled dimensional tear, a window into what we call dark space. It's how our ships can move so quickly between solar systems." First Speaker Thul stepped closer to the chamber, his scientific curiosity overcoming his diplomatic reserve. "You've solved faster than light travel using dimensional manipulation, but the energy requirements are handled by our hull's energy absorption system," Wilson finished. "The same technology that confused your sensors when you first spotted us. The hull doesn't just absorb energy, it harvests it from multiple dimensions simultaneously." Ambassador Vale's skin pulsed with patterns of revelation. "That's why we couldn't identify the hull material. We were only scanning it in 3 dimensions. "Exactly," Captain Reed said, joining the group. "Just like we were only broadcasting primitive radio signals while actually communicating through quantum channels. Sometimes the best way to advance is to let others think you're behind." They moved on to the engineering deck, where massive towers of crystalline structures pulsed with multicolored light. Engineer Wilson explained that these were the ship's power cores, each one capable of powering a small planet. "The interesting part isn't the amount of power they generate," Wilson said, "but how they generate it. These cores don't create energy. They harvest it from parallel dimensions where different physical laws apply. Dimensions where energy is as common as matter is in ours." First Speaker Thul shook his head in amazement. "Our scientists theorized about parallel dimensions for centuries, but we never found a way to prove they existed, let alone interact with them." "Sometimes the answer is to stop trying to prove something exists," Captain Reed said, "and instead ask yourself what would happen if it did." Humanity's greatest breakthrough wasn't any single piece of technology. It was learning to question everything we thought we knew about reality itself. Ambassador Vale turned to Captain Reed, her crystalline skin showing patterns of both respect and concern. "With technology like this, you could have dominated the galaxy. Why reveal yourselves to us now? Why not continue hiding your true capabilities?" Reed's expression grew serious. "Because the galaxy is changing, Ambassador. There are threats out there that neither humanity nor the Coalition can face alone. We believe it's time for our civilizations to work together as equals." As if to emphasize his point, alarms suddenly began blaring throughout the ship. Commander Stone's hand flew to her communication device. "Captain," she said urgently, "we're detecting multiple ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. Their signatures match known pirate vessels, and they're on an attack vector." Captain Reed's expression hardened. "It seems our visitors are about to see exactly why we built ships like the Thunder." "Ambassador, First Speaker, I suggest you follow Commander Stone to the observation deck. What happens next will answer a lot of your remaining questions about humanity's capabilities." The observation deck of the Thunder offered a panoramic view of space through its transparent walls. Ambassador Vale and First Speaker Thull watched as 15 pirate vessels emerged from their faster-than-light jumps, their weapons already charging. "Those are Dark Star-class raiders," Thull said, his 4 eyes narrowing. "The Coalition has lost entire battle groups to ships like those." Commander Stone stood calmly at a control station, her hands moving across holographic displays. "Captain Reed, the pirates are broadcasting their demands. They're requesting immediate surrender and transfer of all valuable technology." "Let's show them our response," Reed said, his voice steady. "Activate combat protocols." The change in the thunder was immediate and dramatic. The transparent walls of the observation deck darkened slightly, transforming into tactical displays. The ship's familiar hum deepened to a powerful throb that the aliens could feel in their bones. "Watch carefully," Engineer Wilson said to the alien delegation. "You're about to see why we built our ships this way." The 15 pirate vessels spread out in an attack formation. Their energy readings spiked as they prepared to fire their main weapons, but the thunder made no move to evade. "Shouldn't we take evasive action?" Ambassador Vale asked, her crystalline skin flickering with concern. "That won't be necessary," Commander Stone replied with a small smile. "Our hull doesn't just absorb energy from parallel dimensions. It can absorb energy from weapon fire too. In fact, they're about to make us stronger." The pirates opened fire. Beams of devastating energy streaked across space toward the thunder. But when they struck the hull, something extraordinary happened. Instead of explosions, there were ripples of blue light spreading across the ship's surface. The energy weapons simply disappeared, converting hostile energy input to shield power, Stone reported. "Shield strength now at 150% normal capacity." The pirates seemed confused. "Captain." "I imagine they are," Reed said. "Let's show them what we can do with all that energy they just gave us. Target their propulsion systems only. We don't need to destroy them." The thunder's response was unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. The rotating rings around the ship's hull spun faster, creating visible distortions in space. Then, without firing a single conventional weapon, the thunder attacked. Concentrated beams of the pirates' own energy, modified and amplified by the thunder systems, lanced out with perfect accuracy. Each beam struck a pirate ship's engines, not destroying them, but carefully disabling their ability to flee. "Impossible," First Speaker Thull whispered. "Your targeting systems would need to be quantum-linked to parallel versions of our ship," Engineer Wilson finished. "We're not just firing where they are. We're firing where they are across multiple dimensions simultaneously. They can't dodge because we're hitting them everywhere they could possibly be." Within minutes, all 15 pirate vessels hung helpless in space, their engines dark and cold. Not a single ship had been destroyed, but none of them could move or fight back. "Warning shots delivered," Commander Stone reported with just a hint of pride. "The pirates are standing down and requesting mercy." Captain Reed nodded. "Signal the coalition ships in the nearest sector. They can handle the cleanup." "I believe we were in the middle of a tour." Ambassador Vale stepped forward, her crystalline skin showing patterns of both awe and understanding. "You didn't just design this ship to fight, did you? You designed it to end fights before they truly begin. To make victory so certain that most enemies would never dare to attack." "That's the core of human military philosophy," Reed explained. "The best victory is the one you never have to fight for. But when fighting becomes necessary," he gestured to the disabled pirate fleet, "we believe in quick, decisive action that minimizes loss of life." First Speaker Thull looked at the human captain with new respect. "I believe I understand now why you chose to reveal yourselves to the Coalition. You're not just showing us your strength. We're showing you our restraint," Reed finished. "Now, shall we continue our tour? There's still much more to see, and I believe you'll find our medical bay particularly interesting. After all, healing is just as important to us as fighting." The medical bay of the Thunder was unlike anything the alien delegation had ever seen. As Captain Reed led them through the pristine white facility, they watched human doctors treating the injured pirates using technology that seemed magical even after everything else they'd witnessed. "Your weapons disabled their ships without killing anyone," Ambassador Vale observed, her crystalline skin pulsing with patterns of admiration. "But some still got hurt from system failures on their vessels. Which is exactly why we bring everyone here," Reed explained, gesturing to a pirate being treated with a beam of golden light that seemed to repair his injuries instantly. "Our medical technology is just as advanced as our weapons, maybe more so." First Speaker Thull watched as broken bones knitted themselves together under the golden beam. "This is beyond cellular regeneration. You're manipulating time itself around their injuries." Engineer Wilson nodded. "The same dimensional technology that powers our weapons can be used to reverse damage at a quantum level. We can literally turn back time for injured tissue." A commotion at the medical bay entrance drew their attention. Commander Stone entered, leading a group of captured pirate leaders under guard. The pirates' faces showed a mixture of fear and awe as they looked around the human ship. "Captain," Stone reported, "the pirate captain has requested to speak with you. He claims he has important information about why they attacked." Reed turned to the pirate leader, a scared alien with cybernetic implants covering half his face. "Speak then. Why target a diplomatic meeting?" The pirate captain's remaining organic eye darted nervously between Reed and the alien delegation. "We were hired, paid well to disrupt this meeting and test your ship's capabilities." "Hired by whom?" Ambassador Vale demanded, her crystalline form flashing with anger. "We don't know their true identity," the pirate admitted. "They called themselves the Shadow Consortium. They wanted to know if the rumors about human technology were true." Captain Reed's expression hardened. "And what have you learned about human technology?" The pirate captain looked down at the deck. "That we were fools to accept this mission. Your ship, it's not just advanced. It's something else entirely. When you disabled our engines, we saw things. Other versions of your ship firing from different dimensions simultaneously. It was like fighting a ghost that could be everywhere at once." Commander Stone stepped forward. "Captain, we're detecting encoded transmissions from the damaged pirate vessels. Someone is downloading their sensor data remotely." "Let them," Reed said calmly. "In fact, boost their signal. Make sure whoever hired them gets a very clear picture of what happened here." First Speaker Thull turned to Reed in surprise. "You're letting them gather intelligence about your capabilities." "Of course," Reed smiled. "The best deterrent is letting potential enemies know exactly what they're facing. This Shadow Consortium wanted to test us. Let them see the results." Ambassador Vale's crystalline form shifted through patterns of realization. "This is why you were so open with us about your technology. You wanted everyone to know. Humanity learned long ago that secrets can lead to miscalculation," Reed explained. "If everyone knows what we're capable of, they're less likely to start conflicts they can't win." Engineer Wilson checked a nearby display. "The coalition ships will arrive in 10 minutes to take custody of the pirates. Should we show our guests the temporal mechanics lab while we wait?" "Actually," Reed said, "I think it's time we showed them the real reason we built the Thunder." He turned to the alien delegation. "Would you like to see why humanity created ships capable of manipulating space, time, and dimensional barriers?" Ambassador Vale and First Speaker Thull exchanged glances. After everything they'd seen, what could possibly be more impressive than the technology already displayed? "There's more," Thull asked incredulously. "Much more," Reed assured them. "What you've seen so far, that's just how we defend ourselves. Wait until you see what we built these ships to actually do. Follow me to the Dimensional Research Core. It's time you learned about the real threats to our galaxy and why humanity has been preparing for them in secret for so long." The Dimensional Research Core of the Thunder was a vast spherical chamber at the heart of the ship. As Captain Reed led the alien delegation inside, they saw something that made everything else they'd witnessed seem trivial by comparison. In the center of the chamber floated a massive hologram of the galaxy, But not just one galaxy. Hundreds of versions of it, all slightly different, all overlapping each other in a complex dance of light and shadow. What you're seeing, Reed explained, is our multiversal mapping system. We're not just looking at our galaxy, we're seeing every version of it across hundreds of parallel dimensions. First Speaker Thul stepped closer to the display, his 4 eyes trying to take in the overwhelming amount of information. But why? Why monitor other dimensions? Because of what we found in them, Commander Stone said grimly. She touched a control panel, and the hologram zoomed in on a particular region of space. Watch this area, particularly how it changes across dimensions. The aliens watched in horror as entire sections of the galaxy began to disappear, dimension by dimension. It was like watching a wave of nothingness spreading across space itself. We call them the Void Eaters, Engineer Wilson explained. They're not from our universe or any we've mapped. They're something outside. In 97% of the dimensions we've monitored, they've already consumed half the galaxy. Ambassador Vale's crystalline form paled. But our dimension, our galaxy seems fine. For now. Reed nodded. In our dimension, they haven't arrived yet. But they will. We've calculated we have less than 50 years before they reach us. This is why you built the Thunder, First Speaker Thul realized. Your weapons, your dimensional technology, your advanced medical systems, it's all preparation for these creatures. Exactly, Reed confirmed. We've spent the last century watching them destroy version after version of our galaxy. We've studied how other civilizations tried to fight them, and how they failed. Every piece of technology on this ship was developed based on what we learned. Commander Stone brought up detailed scans of the Void Eaters from other dimensions. The aliens stepped back instinctively at the sight of the massive, reality-bending creatures that seemed to defy the laws of physics just by existing. In most dimensions, civilizations tried to fight them separately, Reed continued. The Coalition, humanity, and dozens of other species all developed their own defenses. All failed. But in the few dimensions where species worked together, shared their technology, and fought as one, they had a chance. That's why you revealed yourselves now, Ambassador Vale said, her crystalline skin showing patterns of understanding. You're not looking for allies. You're trying to unite the galaxy before it's too late. The Thunder isn't just a warship, Engineer Wilson added. It's a prototype, a demonstration of what's possible when we push technology to its absolute limits. Every system on this ship was designed to fight the Void Eaters. Captain Reed turned to face the alien delegation directly. We're sharing this with you because time is running out. The Shadow Consortium that hired those pirates. They're not the real threat. They're just one of many distractions that could keep us from preparing for what's coming. First Speaker Thul looked back at the galactic hologram, watching as dimension after dimension fell to the cosmic horror that awaited them. What do you need from the Coalition? Partnership, Reed said simply. Real partnership. We've learned how to manipulate space, time, and dimensional barriers. The Coalition has mastered forms of energy we're still struggling to understand. Other species have their own unique insights and technologies. Only together do we stand a chance. Ambassador Vale's crystalline form settled into patterns of determination. The Coalition Council will need proof of this threat. That's why we're here, Reed smiled. The Thunder isn't just going to show you records from other dimensions. We're going to take you there. Would you like to see what happens to a galaxy that fails to unite against the Void Eaters? The Thunder slipped through dimensions as easily as a normal ship might sail through water. The alien delegation watched in stunned silence as reality itself seemed to bend around them. Through the observation deck's windows, they could see multiple versions of the galaxy overlapping like pages in a book. We're approaching our destination, Engineer Wilson announced. Dimension J349. Here, the Void Eaters arrived 10 years ago. The ship emerged from its dimensional transit, and the aliens gasped. Before them lay the remains of what had once been a thriving sector of space, where there should have been stars, planets, and nebulae. There was only emptiness, a perfect darkness that seemed to absorb even the light from the thunder's external illumination. This was the Coalition's capital world in this dimension, Commander Stone said quietly, pointing to a particular patch of nothingness. 8 billion lives, gone in less than an hour. Ambassador Vale's crystalline form had turned almost transparent with horror. How did they fall so quickly? They tried to fight alone, Captain Reed explained. In this dimension, the Coalition never met humanity. They faced the Void Eaters with only their own technology. Their energy weapons, which seemed so advanced, did nothing against creatures that could simply consume energy itself. First Speaker Thul couldn't take his eyes off the devastation. And you've seen this happen across multiple dimensions. Hundreds of them, Reed nodded. But we've also seen dimensions where things went differently. Wilson, show them timeline K721. The thunder shifted again, reality blurring around them. When they emerged, they saw something completely different. This version of the galaxy was alive with light. And more than that, it was protected. Massive structures floated between the stars, creating patterns of energy that seemed to reinforce the fabric of reality itself. In this dimension, Reed explained, the galaxy united. Coalition energy technology, human dimensional science, and dozens of other species' unique innovations all combined. They created a defense network that could actually hurt the Void Eaters. They're still fighting, still losing ground, but slowly. They'd bought themselves centuries instead of hours. Ambassador Vale's form had regained its color, now showing patterns of determination. And you believe we can do better than even this dimension. We know we can, Commander Stone said firmly. We've had something they didn't. Time to prepare. We've studied hundreds of different timelines, learned from every victory and every defeat. The Thunder isn't just a warship, it's a proof of concept. A demonstration of what's possible when we push technology beyond what any one species thought possible. The ship returned to their home dimension, the familiar stars offering comfort after the horrors they'd witnessed. Captain Reed turned to face the alien delegation. The Coalition has always prided itself on guiding younger species, helping them develop, he said. Now we're offering you something different, a true partnership. Humanity doesn't want to join the Coalition as a junior member. We want to work together as equals, combining our knowledge to face what's coming. First Speaker Thul straightened to his full height. The Council will need to see everything we've seen. They'll need proof. Which is exactly why we built the Thunder the way we did. Reed smiled. This ship can take your entire council on the same journey you just experienced. Let them see the threat with their own eyes. Ambassador Vale's crystalline form settled into patterns of resolve. When the Coalition first detected your radio signals, we thought we were finding a primitive species that needed our guidance. Instead, we found something far more valuable. We found hope. Hope is good, Reed agreed, but action is better. We have less than 50 years to prepare our galaxy for the Void Eaters. The Thunder is just the beginning. Together, we can build something even better. As the alien delegation prepared to return to their ship, they took one last look at the massive human vessel that had changed everything they thought they knew about humanity. They had come expecting to guide a young species into the galactic community. Instead, they found themselves facing a choice. Adapt to a new reality where humanity was not just their equal, but perhaps their salvation, or face extinction. The answer, they realized, was obvious. The galaxy would unite, or the galaxy would die. And humanity, with their impossible ship and their dimensional science, had just become the key to survival itself.